Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome back to another weekly Paycheck Budget with Me video. We're going to be budgeting out the last paycheck of February 2022, and we're going to be using a zero-based budgeting method on my Excel template. If you're interested in purchasing my template, it is for sale on Etsy. The link is down below. I want to thank those who've already purchased it. It really does help us out and helps me to keep the channel going, and so thank you very much, and I hope it's working for you. If you need any additional help setting up the template, there is an option where you can purchase a meeting with me. I have it on there as a Zoom meeting, but we can always set it up as a phone call or whatever, and I can customize the template for you. If you already purchased the template and you still need help setting it up, you can always reach out to me through the Etsy platform on the messaging, and we can figure out a way to help you. So I hope it's working for you. I am going to try to figure out a way to convert it into a Google Doc, because I do know a few of you prefer to use Google Sheets or Google Docs versus Excel. So stay tuned. Hopefully I can get that coming in the next couple months or so. But anyway, so we're going to do the budget. And like last time, before we jump on the budget, I want to say thank you to those who have left their comment last week. I mentioned on our weekly budget videos, if you leave a comment, I am going to be sharing it on the next week's video. And last week I mentioned how a lot of comments were disappearing. I changed some of my settings, and at the end of last week's video I showed you how you can double check your settings. So I do have Lisa from Australia. Thank you so much for commenting again. She was one of my comments that got lost in the YouTube abyss, if you will. So I do want to share her comment real quick before we get started. So she says, hello from Australia. So wow, you're watching all the way from Australia. So thank you so much for watching. I am in the US, so that's crazy. I'm not sure what the time difference is. But she says, thanks for inspiring me to budget and keep me motivated by watching your weekly paycheck videos. I find it interesting how others budget and the cost of living in different countries. I've rewritten a comment as I couldn't see the comment. Strange how it disappeared from previous video. Lisa, thanks, and enjoy your camping trip. Yeah, so thank you so much for re-commenting. I did say, hey, if you see this video, try again. So it worked. So high five. We figured something out, right? But yeah, so thank you so much for watching, especially from another country. That means a lot to me. And yeah, our camping trip was fun. There was a lot of kids. We did end up camping with a few of my husband's co-workers and some of their extended family or friends. I started becoming pretty close with one of his co-workers' wives, and so we took all the kids hiking up this cool little mountain so we could see the all the other campsites and stuff like that. So that was pretty fun. But it was, yeah, a lot of kids. That's all I can say, a lot of kids. Annie for horses, I have a few comments from you, so I am going to address one of them when it comes to that part of the budget. But basically she does say, she said down here, Google and YouTube is famous for dropping comments. It got so bad other YouTube budgeters had to switch to an online form to capture giveaway entries and stuff. Yeah, so obviously if the comment section got really bad and I couldn't see everything, then maybe I would look into something like that. But for now, I like keeping everything on YouTube. It's easy for me. And Lipstick and Sofrito says, thanks for sharing with us. Blessings and much love. Thank you. Much love to all of you as well. And then Heather, longtime viewer who's also in another country, we're going to come back to your comment as well once it's related to the budget part. So thank you guys again for commenting. And again, if you share a comment on this week's video, we'll be sure to share it next week. But let's jump on to the budget. So like I mentioned, this is my Excel form, and it's evolved a little bit over the years just based on what I personally want to track and see at a glance. I started off just doing my monthly budget, and then when I read Dave Ramsey's books, he mentions not just the monthly budget, but he actually talks about doing the paycheck budget, and he also has other helpful tips in there for if you have an irregular income or if you have irregular paychecks and things like that. So it does help to kind of check at least every time you get paid, but I encourage you to go on your budget form minimum once a week. I actually come onto my form anytime money is coming in or out, even if it happens to be on a different day than Friday. So I did update the 18th based on our spending. So for those of you who have been watching, I go through I go through the previous week and I change anything that needs to be changed, and I update the current week. And then I update any future weeks based on what my husband's been working this week. I'm not going to do that on this video because it's going to be March next week. So we're going to go ahead, when I'm done filming this, I'm going to film March's budget, where we're going to budget out the entire month. So you have to join me on Monday for that video. Okay, so let's join. I'm just going to scroll down the 18th real quick and just show you basically where some of the spending changed. If you watched my grocery haul video, I spent $114.33 basically between the tortoise food, groceries, and the extra like snack stuff for camping. The goal was $100. I did go over a little bit. The chips were in the wrong spot, so I thought they were like $7 and they were like $15. So I still would have been over slightly. But those of you, I did put up a poll yesterday asking if you're enjoying those the haul videos, and so far I have 91 or 92% of you are saying yes, you're liking them and to keep making them in March. So I am going to keep making them in March. And for those of you who voted no, feel free not to watch those videos. Sorry, majority won, right? The other thing was I mentioned the household. We did spend some extra money, about $21 on that first grocery trip, but we did end up having, Ricky went back to the store later on or something like that. So we ended up spending $35. So where I changed the money, like where did the money come from to cover the extra expense? If you remember, originally under the maintenance, my husband, I wanted to start putting money aside for his new motorcycle tire. I think we had about $54 or $57 from there, so I obviously moved that over to this week's paycheck, and then I moved part of the cell phone over to this week's paycheck to make up for the added expenses there, as well as added expenses just down here in events. So like I mentioned, we were camping with a bunch of other families, so we originally, we always bring our stuff for our family, our own drinks, our own food, but sometimes when you got a bunch of kids, they want to share what you have as well. So we shared a lot of snacks. So they actually ended up doing another run to Walmart, so we picked up more water and a few more things like that for camping. So we just put that as events because it was for other people to share. And then eating out, I did Monday, my girls had school off, so we did end up eating some pizza, so that was $14.97. So that's pretty much what changed. And then Ricky did not spend his full $20, he spent $17.53. So that's, yeah, so not bad. Like I said, we moved some of the stuff over, but let's take a look at this week. So we're gonna go through and see what did my husband actually get paid. So he did actually have 6 hours of overtime. They've been working 9-hour days, Monday through Friday. And I mentioned this last week when I kind of went on a tangent about what my husband does. So if you're interested in what does my husband do for work, it's in last week's video, my little tangent. But basically, he's doing his class twice a week. So on those days, I wasn't sure if he was getting the 9 hours. So they did have the 9 hours. And then from this paycheck, I believe the fourth paycheck, he was missing one of the hours, or maybe it was the 11th. He was missing one of the hours that he did work, so he was basically, they paid him for that, so he got the 6 hours of overtime. So his base pay was the same as every week because it's 40 hours a week, so it's the $1,089.20. And then the overtime, basically it's time and a half, so his overtime is basically like $40.85 or 84 cents per hour, $245.10 worth of overtime. So good job, babe. All right, so we are finishing out the month, so I'm gonna go ahead and make the actual numbers for the income black because there will be no more income coming in, like I mentioned, for February. We will have to see what March is gonna look like. We originally budgeted the year saying that my husband averaged 8 hours of overtime a week. Obviously, they're not really averaging that. We did say, my husband and I kind of agreed, hey, let's, you don't have to work every weekend like he did last year when they did overtime. I said, but if you want to commit to 2 weekends a month, so he is going to work this Saturday because he didn't work the last 2 Saturdays. So he should have, 8+ hours of overtime on the first paycheck. So here for the interest for the bank account, I am filming this on Thursday the 24th. He gets paid on the 25th, but the interest doesn't come into our bank account until the 26th. So this one, last month it was like $1 or something. So this won't change too much, but we're just gonna leave it as is for now. And then they did not get the bonus that they had gotten the last 3 years. So I'm gonna make that black because there's no more money coming in for the bonus. Now this was my health reimbursement bonus. If I had not filed for that, then we would have been short what we thought we originally were going to get. But basically that's the income for this particular week. And then our paying ourselves first, we're currently investing 5% into the 401k. We started the year off at 10%. We lowered it because of the lack of overtime, and then we're gradually going to increase it. So that brings us back to Heather's comment. And again, Heather, thank you so much for watching. Like I said, you are a longtime viewer, way back when. So she's seen our journey from basically when we lived on food stamps, and my husband only made $1,400 a month, not a week. So we used to, food stamps, access insurance, we were struggling, and then we actually lived and traveled and did work camping jobs. We lived in an RV for 6 months, and then when we moved back to Arizona, we decided, hey, let's settle down our roots and get the house. So Heather has seen that whole journey, but she's always chiming in and giving great insight. But she said, good to see that you are increasing your investments for your future. To my surprise, 60 came around way earlier than I thought it would. Also, Ricky does a physical job. He can't do that into his 60s and 70s. So she said 57 sounds a grand plan. Do it. So what is she talking about? We mentioned that I wanted to have all the debt and hit all of our investments set up so Ricky can have the option to retire by 57. So in order for us to reach that, we are going to be 40 this year. So in July I will be 40. That is crazy. But basically that only gives us like 18, 17 years, right? We did refinance, so we only have a 15-year mortgage. So we basically have 14 more years to pay on our mortgage if we only made the minimum payment. The goal is to pay off the teardrop and to pay off the truck, and then to throw that as extra payments, obviously, at the mortgage. So we hopefully pay things off, in more like 10 years instead of 14 years or something like that. But yeah, he does a physical job, and I can already tell he's getting tired. So I definitely want him to have the option to retire early, but we also know that with only having that many years, we need to be investing around $1,500 a month. That's including his match. So we figured if we personally can invest at least $1,000 a month, which would be about 20% of my husband's income with his 8 hours of overtime, then we would be in a good position. So we're definitely trying to increase up. Our goal is to be investing about 20% of his income. So starting in April, we're going to do a 1%. We're increasing our investments 1%. And again, as hopefully we can get some of that debt paid off, and we'll see how that goes. But let's just double check his pay stub to see if that matches up for the percentages I had here. So 53.37 for the 401k, and then the ESOP was the 13.34. So I make these blue because that at a glance tells me that this money is not spent. It just tells me it's saved or it's invested. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and make those blue at the back here because that's done. We won't be adding anything. So for the month, we added $266 into his 401k, and like I said, our goal is $1,000. So we got a little ways to go. Moving on down, we're not going to be giving anymore. You saw that we added giving for the other week before. We're taking a look at the taxes from the pay stub. Federal was 0 again. Arizona was 1534. Medicare was 1808. And Social Security 7728. And then our long-term our life insurance and our accidental death insurance is $9.06. And then the long-term disability was, I think it was 1 penny less. Yeah, so it's $4.56. And then our weekly insurance, health insurance, $87.80. So now I'm gonna make all that black because this money, it's the official number, but this money is gone because that's withheld from my husband's pay stub. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna make these black because that's the end of the month. Okay. Like I mentioned, today's the 24th. Everything's gonna hit the bank account tomorrow. And then if you see these ones in blue, these are the bills that are due for March. So I'm actually going to be, right now they're blue because they're in a savings account. So I'm going to pull those out of savings. And then on the 1st, we start having a bunch of money being withdrawn from the account. I set it up so everything's pretty much comes out on the 1st, with the exception of a few of these random bills here, but that's okay. Come back to the home maintenance. I think we're gonna be able to finally put some money into our savings. So I'm gonna open this up because I think with that overtime, we might be able to finish putting some money aside. We're trying to finish that garden enclosure, so we have a certain amount of money we kind of need in here. So we're gonna see what that is. We are gonna leave our groceries at $100. So I'm gonna make this orange because this will be in the bank. And then over on the side here, this is my tracker for my checking account and savings accounts and all of that. So in this income account, that's where direct deposit comes. So I'm going to put on here $100 next to food. So when I log on that bank account tomorrow, I know I have $100 to go grocery shopping. Same thing, we want to finish out the cell phone bill, so we're going to put that $18.25 over here. Gas, it looks like Ricky, like we spent $125 this week on gas as well. We did do camping and that includes part of that. So we still have two, if you notice a theme here, by the time I do the budget, we still have like 2 fill-ups that are pending. So we'll have to see, but for the most part, we're going to leave it at the $125 again. And this is just because my husband has been working far, but I need my oil changed on my car, so I haven't had him drive my car the last couple days just because I need to take it in. Okay, so maintenance, like I mentioned, we want to put $200 aside for my husband to get a new tire for the motorcycle. I'm not sure exactly how much it's going to cost yet. I did tell him to call the place that he takes his motorcycle in for different repairs. Said, hey, go ahead and call him and find out how much it would be. He hasn't done it yet. So once he does that, we can get that taken care of. And then coming down, we have his $20 of spending. So we're going to put that here. So we've been doing our best not to eat out, as you saw on the grocery budget. So that's pretty much, we're going to keep not eating out. We don't have any events planned this weekend. Ricky's going to work, so I'm going to, we're all going to stay home and not spend any money. All right, but I want to come back to one of my last comments here. So Anna for Horses, again, like I mentioned, she left a couple comments, but she said she came across my channel watching one of my Instacart videos that she used to do shipped, and that it helped her through doing that. So thanks for watching and thanks for coming over from another video. But she said she feels us on the truck payment. She just finished paying off a personal loan, and so she's now has an extra $1,000 back in her account every month. High five! Like, that is awesome. I would love to have an extra $1,000 a month in my bank account. So I have a lot of people who are, they could be friends or family, and they could say they don't understand the concept of why you want to get out of debt. And it's not so much about, oh, I have to get out of debt. It's about freeing up that cash flow, because what could you do instead of, with that $1,000? What else could you do with it? You could do so much more with that, right? You have the option of either needing less money, you have the option of saving more, giving more, doing whatever you want to do, really, so it's about that. So for me, that's why I want to retire with zero debt, so I have all those options. we can retire earlier because we need less money, or if we have more money, then it gives us more money to do more things. So yeah, so high five, Annie. That's awesome that you paid that off. Keep going with whatever else you're working on. Yeah, so our truck payment is at $591.97. Our teardrop payment is at $117. So for those of you who watched before, I used to have my car payment, and my husband had his other car payment. His car payment used to be less because it was a smaller truck, and my car payment was like close to $420, I think. So combined, we were paying $820 a month on those two things. We paid off my car, and we ended up getting the teardrop, and we did upgrade my husband's truck. But even with these combined, it's still like $700 and something. So we're still saving like $100 and something a month from what we used to pay on the vehicles, if you will. But we still want to get rid of it, right? So yeah. So now what do? This is a zero-based budget. So what does that mean? That means we tell every dollar where to go. So at the bottom there's a zero. That doesn't mean you don't have any money. That doesn't mean you spend all your money. That just means you've told it where to go. So we have $594.22 left because of the overtime, right? So we want to tell it where to go. Well, the first things first, in this home maintenance, I know specifically that I need, well, I don't know exact, but I know I have a feeling I need around I need 400, I'm just gonna say $460, right? So part of this is to finish, most of this is to finish up that garden enclosure that we have, that we're trying to finish up because I want to get that planted. That's not including the actual planting and the soil and stuff. So that's going to have to come into March's budget. But we want to finish the garden enclosure. So Ricky's going to work this weekend, but we did say if he works every other weekend, so then the next weekend we can finish that garden enclosure. So I'm going to add that 460 to the 337 I still have in the checking account. So that's going to be 797.87. So we have money put aside for our patio cover, and the company's, it's a local company, they're just really far behind, so we've been waiting, like this summer will be a year, but they go cash. They're just a local, you know, mom and pop type place, and they've offered us an amazing deal that other companies can't match. So I said we'll wait, but we've been pulling that cash out slowly, and the ATM that I go to, it keeps being out of service, so that money just keeps sitting there. I need to continue to take out the rest of the money for that. But anyway, so let's come down. We still have $134.22. Yay! I get to put some money in savings. $134.22. If you remember at the beginning of the month, we were having to push bills to the next month because we were not planning on having any overtime. Luckily, the overtime came in, and the health reimbursement came in, and the taxes came in, right? So we had some stuff come in to help us out. But basically, we still need to pay back some of our savings that we spent last year. So this isn't even really like a savings, like we're getting ahead. It's kind of just like paying ourselves back. But we'll get there, and then we'll be able to move forward from there. So that's basically what I do, right, as I go through. Oh, and let me take $2 off of this because we don't have the interest in that bank account yet. So that I'm going to take that off of there for now. So that's what I do here is I just line it up with the line item. So again, tomorrow when I log on, I know I'm going to need, you know, $1,393.34 in that account. And if that number doesn't match for some reason, then I have to go, you know, I just double check everything. But I keep track of what's in each account. This one is what I call my necessities account. So all of our bills are set up to come out automatically or to be paid automatically. Some of them come out directly from this checking account. So that's why I keep it separate from here. So I know that anything in this necessities account cannot be spent or touched because it's already for bills, right? Then I have a few bills that actually get charged onto our credit card. So I have here my card, and we keep track of what's currently charged on that card. And that way we can then either transfer money out of savings, like this is from my girls' spending. They have their own money. We can transfer that out to pay it, or it's coming out of a bill or whatever, right? It gets charged on here. And then I pay this off every single week. We earn cash back, and so, you know, that's really good to use that, to have there. So these are just ways that I track what we got going on at a glance. So everything's looking way better than it looked last time. I'm happy for that. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and film the monthly budget, so you have to join me. I'll probably post that on Monday, since we are going to continue with the grocery haul budgets for March on Wednesday. What I am going to do a little differently, though, is I'm going to probably budget an extra $10 for stocking up, so I can start to stock up at the same time as going grocery shopping. But you have to join me, find out if that's what we end up doing or not. But I hope these budget videos help you. Again, if you are into spreadsheets like I am and you want to pick up your own template for Excel, the link is down below to purchase it on Etsy. You do not need to purchase Excel to use the template. You can use Excel online through your Microsoft account or whatever. That's actually what I do. So I use online free. However, you need an internet connection in order to access it. So that is an option if that was one of your concerns. But as always, thanks for watching. Leave your comments below, and I'll see you next week. Bye.